Come for the flight, stay for the lounge.
Come for the shit, stay for the fart. That's what I'm saying, dude. Yes. Dude, write that on my grave.
We smoking filtered crack, you stupid Guacamole.
Shit. Ton of rum? No, I didn't. I just drank fucking rum. Vodka. You're on crack. I'm here for aliens talk. I could talk about aliens for a little bit. It might not be a video. I talk about aliens all the time, dude. You're showing your ass at it? No, I'm not. I'm facing this way. I'm not showing my ass like that, okay? Like this. Like that. I'm not showing my ass. Ba-ba-beep-ba. Want me to try? Here's what I got so far. This is going to be genuinely the most schizophrenic shit I've ever done in my entire life, at least on live stream. Let's talk. All right. First of all, Kona Blue video. All right. For one time, I won't debunk him because my internet is shit. Yeah, good excuse. Kona Blue. Where do I even start with Kona Blue? All right. Firstly, Roswell, because this is important. What do you mean? Oh God. This shit is interesting, okay? What do people know about Roswell? I want to genuinely hear. What does everyone in chat right now think about Roswell? Think about the Roswell incident, the UFO crash in 1947. What does everyone think? What? That's a quote. Listen, engage with the content, all right? What does everyone think about Roswell? All right, class. What does everyone think about Roswell? Nothing. I'm not a part of the well, regardless of whether or not you're a part of the UFO community, what when you hear the Roswell crash of 1947, do you think it's real or do you think it's fake? What do you think happened? What is your overall consensus? Genuinely being dead serious. This is important because if the answer is it's not aliens, I'm gonna blow your fucking mind. If your answer is that Roswell was actually completely solved, it's not a weird thing at all, weather balloon, I'm gonna blow your fucking mind. The cover up? Well, the cover up of what? What did they cover up? That's the thing. We don't know. We don't know what they covered up. Who Roswell? The fucking UFO crash in Texas or New Mexico. I mean, Roswell, New Mexico. But okay, point being, I don't want to linger on this forever. Point being, most people think Roswell was nothing. So let's break down exactly what happened. So first thing that happened with Roswell is the farmer. The crash happened on someone's ranch, and it happened over the span of several miles long. You could find scraps across miles. And it crashed on this guy's field. And so this farmer, if I'm editing this, I'll put this up. The farmer's name, okay? This fucking dude, scoured the fields looking for what had crashed, and he said that he didn't know what the fuck it was. You know, granted, if it was a balloon, he might not know what the fuck it was. So he calls not the military, he calls the police. Okay? The police show up on his ranch, they look at it, and they're like, we don't know what the fuck it is. This looks pretty fucking weird. This looks pretty crazy. I don't think there's any official statement, but what happens afterwards, we know for a fact. They call, after the local police get involved, they call the fucking United States Air Force. They call the Air Force. Okay? And the Air Force show up and they collect the material, and what happens afterwards is fucking insane. however the fuck you spell it. I genuinely could not give a shit. Too distracted by your avatar? That's the point, okay? You come for the avatar, you stay for the fucking alien conspiracies. So what happens after the farmer sees it, after the cops see it, after the American Air Force say it, okay? What happens? They make an announcement. And did they say that it was a balloon? Did they say that it was a completely innocuous object? No. I shit you not. I am dead serious. Look it up. I'm being 1000%. The first thing they said about the crash was that it was a flying saucer. I'm being dead serious. That was the first thing, not some random, not Joe Schmo, not Huckleberry Finn, not like fucking like Joe Swan, Juan Kilius, some random fuck. The military, the Air Force, the United States military say it was a fucking flying saucer, okay? And then less than 6 or 12 hours, I can't remember exactly. After 6 or 12 hours, then they correct it. Wait, hold on. They correct it, right? And they say, actually, haha, just kidding, guys. It was a weather balloon. And when they announced that it was a UFO, by the way, just to be clear, the entire country lost their fucking mind for like hours on end. People were fucking literally losing their minds. They were like, a flying saucer was like an alien flying saucer, but like everybody around the country was talking about it. And then hours later, they said, actually, weather balloon. Just kidding. Haha, just kidding. Trolled. Epic troll. Okay. They say it was a weather balloon. Okay. And generally, that's kind of where it stops. Generally, that's where Roswell stops. Then, about, I want to say like 40 years later, in the 80s. Okay. What happens in the 80s? Whistleblowers. I need to actually like point it at the fucking... That says whistleblowers. Okay, whistleblowers. Whistleblowers happen. First, it started with a guy by the name of John Lear. Now, John Lear went to, I think it was the News Nation at the time, or not News Nation. He went to KLS TV. And that's basically the publication journalistic shit for Las Vegas, I think. And John Lear is a guy. Okay, hold on. This is kind of important because it leads up. Because I mean, John Lear is kind of crazy, but all right, I might as well talk about him. John Lear is a whistleblower. He was a pilot that worked for the CIA, and he whistleblowed and he talked to George. Is it with a K or a G? I think it's with a G. George Knapp. He talks with George Knapp. Okay. I can't remember if it was G or a K. Okay. He talks with George Knapp. Okay. On live TV. And George Knapp interviews John Lear about what the United States government knows about aliens and UFOs. And they start talking. John Lear says some crazy shit, not really substantiated with like much evidence. He has a lot of allegations, really hard to believe him, but what is clear is that John Lear isn't full of shit. Okay, he did work for the CIA. He was hired by the CIA. His family is well known within the United States government. Very famous dude. His father invented airplanes and shit like that for the military and just for public use and stuff like that. But John Lear flew for the CIA and shit. And so he was privy to a lot of crazy shit. And so he comes out with this conspiracy about like fucking aliens and aliens coming in contact with the United States government and then making deals and stuff like that. Honestly, John Lear, kind of a schizophrenic. I don't know if I entirely believe him, honestly. This whole like transparent fucking, or not transparent, what the fuck is he's like mind reading bracelets and shit. Like John Lear is kind of insane, but it piqued public interest. Okay, and so George Knapp was like, hey, John Lear, do you have anybody else that you could refer to me to? And he refers George Knapp to to Bob Lazar. And that name should be kind of familiar to people because that's the dude. This is where the Area 51 conspiracy comes from, okay? This is where the whole Area 51 alien conspiracy shit comes from. So George Knapp interviews, at first anonymously, Bob Lazar. Hold on, I need to take a drink. I'm getting too sober for this. I like that motherfucker. I love George Knapp. That dude is fucking cool, okay? Because George Knapp doesn't play with no fucking bullshit. This dude is very a matter of fact, very by the books, very straightforward to the point. And when George Knapp makes a crazy claim, he comes with receipts. He doesn't just make a crazy claim with no receipts. He doesn't ever do that. He comes with receipts every time. George Knapp is a fucking G, okay? This guy fucks all the time. So it's Alex Jones, shut the fuck up. You're retarded, okay? This is real shit, right? So George Knapp talks to Bob Lazar sometime around the 90s. Lazar was anonymous at the time, at the 90s. Or not the 90s, 80s. When he interviewed him around the 80s, Bob Lazar, he was basically like this blacked out silhouette with like a voice modulator. Generally speaking, they made enough effort to try and censor him as much as possible while giving his own unique testimony. So George Knapp is talking about, like, what do you know about the United States government aliens? And Bob Lazar reveals a secret United States Air Force base in Nevada, where he worked on extraterrestrial flying saucers and shit. Okay. And what military base is in Nevada? Okay. There's only one that most people know about, and that's Area 51. The only reason we know Area 51 is a place is because of Bob Lazar, right? I want to make this very fucking clear because so many people say Bob Lazar is full of shit. Literally, the only reason we know about Area 51 is because of this guy, is because of Bob Lazar. This is the only reason why we know Area 51 exists. Because he's the one who knew where it was. He's the one who knew it was an Air Force base. He's the one who knew that that's where they tested experimental aircraft. And all of that is true. Do we know for a matter of fact he tested on an alien spacecraft? No, we don't know that for a matter of a fact. Okay. But Air Force base tested secret military equipment. You need to have high clearance to know that kind of shit. Okay. Area 51 was not known at the time. So Bob Lazar leaked Area 51 and its purpose and shit, and that he was brought on as someone to reverse engineer aircraft, okay? And this whole shit happened. So when George Knapp was trying to verify Bob Lazar's credentials, he found out when he was calling up, when George Knapp was calling up Bob Lazar and the places that he worked, he found out that specifically, very specifically, that the records of Bob Lazar's employment for these certain like highly how do you say these places that basically were trained, like you had to be a very smart person. You had to know neuroscience, or not neuroscience. You had to know like fucking like nuclear physics and shit like that. You had to be very trained in that department to work at these places. When George Knapp was calling up these nuclear facilities to see if like Bob Lazar worked there, he found that not that he hadn't worked there, but his records were wiped. Not that he didn't work there, his records were wiped. Okay, and how George Knapp knows that Bob Lazar was wiped from the record is because he called up a specific facility to see if Bob Lazar worked there. The facility told him, we don't have any records. We don't currently have the records of his employment. But then he opens up a phone book of the people that worked at that facility, and he found Bob Lazar did actually work there. So his record was being wiped, cleared, all of that shit by who knows? Fucking giant flying spaghetti monster, probably. All right. I'm lagging. The point being, Bob Lazar's record was being smeared, or not smeared, being redacted and removed in real time. So that's where Bob Lazar's shit ends. But point being, the most important part is that Bob Lazar talked about a reverse engineering program. For the longest time, that sounded like complete fucking retarded bullshit. Okay, you mean to tell me the United States government was reverse engineering fucking extraterrestrial aircraft? And this has been no, that's ridiculous. That's stupid. That would never happen. Okay, so that's the end of the 80s arc. Okay, but in the 90s, I think it was Clinton or Bill. I think it was like it was not Bill Clinton. Who the fuck was the president in the 90s? Bush and his team. I don't think it was Bush specifically, but someone a part of his compartment of his department was interested in knowing what the fuck was going on with Roswell. What the hell happened with Roswell? Because the Bob Lazar stuff ties in with Roswell. Bob Lazar said he worked on the aircraft that was allegedly acquired at Roswell. Okay. Dildo Clinton, yeah. But so someone, a part of an official United States government, told the United States Air Force, "Hey, we want you to write up a report of everything that you know about Roswell, everything you know about the Roswell crash." So in the 90s, I think it was 97 specifically. In 97, okay, the 90s. Fuck, I'm lagging, dude. In the 90s, I'm to try to silence me. In the 90s, United States government had you, and you could look. This is a completely public document. You look and read this right now. Okay, they wrote the Roswell Report. I think that's what it's called. You could probably just look up 90s Roswell. What the fuck is happening, bro? Roswell Report. So in the 90s, they had the United States military, the United States Air Force. How the fuck am I still lagging? The Roswell Report. Okay? And this report, when it came out, everybody, I'm talking everybody, all the news, everyone was saying Roswell debunked. Haha. Guess what, retards? Guess what, retard? You're retarded. If you thought Roswell was a crash, fucking UFO, you're stupid. You're dumb. Okay, actually, it was a balloon this whole time. So this report was supposed to say that it was indeed a balloon, but it turns out it wasn't. Apparently, it wasn't just one balloon. It was two balloons. It wasn't just two balloons. It was three balloons. Apparently, it wasn't three balloons. It was four balloons. It was 5, 6, 7. They had like multiple. The Roswell Report, they had multiple explanations. This report was supposed to be unequivocally a solid conclusion as to what the fuck happened in Roswell, and that for some fucking reason, instead of having one conclusion, instead of being entirely transparent as to what exactly they recovered in 1947, they gave like 5 different explanations as to what crashed in Roswell. One of the explanations was the most well-known explanation for Roswell, and that it was Project Mogul. Project Mogul was basically a series of balloons that were launched across the country that had radios attached to them to try and pick up on Soviet radio signals and stuff like that. Basically Cold War bullshit, right? They said it was one of the balloons from Project Mogul crashed, and that's why they had to cover it up. But not only that, because some people reported that alien bodies were recovered, they also I swear to fucking God, this is in the document. Inside the Roswell Report document, and if I'm making this video, I'll put it in the description. The link is in the description. You can look and see. They also give an explanation as to why people saw bodies at the sighting, and that sometimes people will test how good certain equipment is, so they will drop mannequins from balloons at high altitudes to see how well equipment is. But the funny thing is, Project Mogul had nothing to do with that. Project Mogul had nothing to do with dropping mannequins from the fucking sky. So I don't know how the fuck it can be Project Mogul and also them dropping shit from the fucking sky. This is all contained in one sighting. It was the farmer and it was the policeman, and that's basically it. The military people didn't fucking talk about it much whatsoever, other than that one dude who told the media what they had recovered and then immediately fucking retconned it. Like hours later. Holy shit, dude. This lag is fucking insane, actually. Point being, I could go into full detail about it. The Roswell Report was complete fucking bullshit. They gave multiple conclusions for something that should have just been one. If Roswell was a crashed fucking balloon, then it should have just been one conclusion. But they gave multiple different unrelated conclusions as to what people saw. As soon as I start talking about Roswell, I'm fucking lagging. That's the Roswell Report. That happened in the 90s. So, but everyone at the time said Roswell solved. Just a weather balloon. Haha, you're stupid. You're dumb. If you thought Roswell was anything but a weather balloon, you're stupid. Okay? So, glad I'm not the only one. Thank you. Okay? So, they said it was a weather balloon. Everyone was convinced, apparently. No one actually dug into the documents themselves. Weather balloon. Flash forward 30-something years in the future, okay? 2024. It turns out in March, a document was declassified. And this document was called Kona Blue. The video, okay? It's a video in question. Kona Blue was essentially a secure access program that was supposed to operate out of the Department of Homeland Security. Has nothing to do with the Pentagon, okay, or the CIA, the Department of Homeland Security, because they had been handed over a program that had been basically squashed out of the DIA. Okay, so this program was already kind of running out of the DIA, but they needed better funding, they needed better facilities, they needed better everything. So the DIA basically took this program that they were already running. They were already running this program out of the DIA. They quickly scrapped it and then sent it and repackaged it and sent it to the DHS. And they held these meetings trying to get this secure access program operating. And this was a very, very high levels of discretion with this program. Okay. In these meetings, now the most interesting part, I would argue, when they held these meetings, so you had these people from the DHS, from high levels of government, sat down in this room, talking to people from the DIA, the Department of Information and Energy, I think, or some DIA, the Department of whatever the hell DIA is. Okay. They're sitting down and they're talking to these people from the DHS, and they talk and they say, and initially there's two meetings. And then in the first meeting, they're like, hey, we want you to take up this program. And the people are like, well, why should we fund this program? And they're like, hold on. Like, they give them the reasoning, but they're like, hold on. You can't just tell me the reason as to why this program. You need to show me, you need to prove to me physically why we should be running this program. So the second meeting happens and they say, you need to fund this program. And what this, hold on, I probably should explain this. I'm fucking drunk, okay? Kona Blue was a catch and capture reverse engineer program designed to reverse engineer, to catch and capture and reverse engineer crashed UAPs or UFOs of very specifically extraterrestrial origin. They didn't say extraterrestrial, they called it advanced aeronautical vehicles of non-human origin. Make of that what you will, okay? But basically, I'm reading that as like it's extraterrestrial aircraft. And that this program was not only going to going to detect and capture and reverse engineer UAPs, but it was going to take from already acquired materials and use the already acquired materials to study and research these crashed extraterrestrial vehicles, meaning we are already in possession of these alleged UFO alien extraterrestrial vehicles. We already have it. And Kona Blue talks about taking those aircraft, already acquired extraterrestrial vehicles, and using that to research and reverse engineer. Kona Blue? Yes, Kona Blue. Kona Blue. Yes, the what the last thing you say, Kona Blue. Yes, that. So that's what this program was going to do. And then when asked, this is my favorite fucking part of the declassified shit. When the people of the DHS asked the DIA why they should fund this program, what exactly makes them think that we should have this program, what convincing piece of evidence could they provide as to influence them to green light this program? The entire paragraph of explanation, it is a whole entire paragraph explanation is redacted. It's redacted. Everything else in the document is basically clear and open. Everyone can read it. But one of the things, and the only other things that are redacted in that paper are names and places. But the only thing that isn't a name or a place that's redacted is this huge paragraph of an explanation as to exactly why this program needs to be greenlit. And then after that paragraph, every single fucking person in that room is on board and they say, yep, we need to greenlight this. This is actually a very serious problem. Crazy, right? It's kind of crazy. Redaction is gay, true. But point being, they greenlit it. So at this point, they're in the process of greenlighting it. They haven't fully greenlit it yet. They're in the process of greenlighting it. They're talking about what kind of funding are we going to get for this program? And this is where the program kind of falls apart, because after they're talking months and months on end about, how much money they exactly need to be running this kind of program out of the DHS, the CIA and the Department of Defense get a hold and they get an ear of what exactly is going on at the DHS, and they decide to gut the funding. So this program doesn't go anywhere, and they get snuffed out completely. It's not that nobody could agree that this program shouldn't be greenlit. Everyone agreed that this program should be greenlit. Everyone agreed that we need this kind of thing to be going on. Everyone agreed that this is actually a very, very concerning issue. One of the people that worked for the government at the time worked for the federal office, and they were a high-ranking not defense attorney. What the fuck? They were a high-ranking personnel in the Department of Defense, not the Department of Defense. I think of the federal government, and they were basically like a couple steps below the president themselves. And they were in this meeting, and they said that after this meeting, this is one of the most concerning issues in concerns with national security, and that it is a farce that we haven't taken it seriously since. Basically, that happens, and this program that was proposed. Oh, to be clear, Kona Blue was proposed in the early 2000s, around 2007-ish. And this program, the funding of this program gets gutted completely by the DoD, by the Department of Defense, CIA, DoD, CIA, same thing, basically. It gets gutted. It gets completely gutted. The DoD comes in and they say, no, not worth it, not worth it, not worth it, not worth it. And then so nobody wants to spend any money on it. Kind of crazy, right? And so that's where we're at. That's where we were at last week about But recently, we got to find out what that legacy program was. Recently, you remember that part in Kona Blue where they're talking about already existing programs that had already acquired material, had already required alien extraterrestrial material? We got to find out what that program was called by a whistleblower. Immaculate Constellation. Immaculate Constellation. Okay. And so what's happening right now is that people are releasing FOIA requests or Freedom of Information Act requests to basically want to know. So basically what happened was a whistleblower came out and they said that program in Kona Blue that is being referenced in Kona Blue, it is called Immaculate Constellation. That legacy program that's being ran out of the CIA, out of the Department of Defense is called Immaculate Constellation. And that program is where all that UAP related information is at. Or at least part of that damning, very, very damning UAP, UFO information is at. And that got leaked literally last week. So right now we're waiting until November 15th. We're going to learn more about Immaculate Constellation. We're going to learn more about what was in it. And that's where we're at right now. So pretty crazy, right? Pretty crazy, right? They can't do that, right? What do you mean? You mean they can't run programs underneath the nose of Congress? Yeah, they can't do that. They can't do that. They're not supposed to do that, but they did. They illegally ran a secure access program underneath the nose of the Congress, underneath the nose of even the president. Yeah, they did that. Yep. Didn't you say some time ago that Skinwalker Ranch had Kona Blue ties? Yep. Okay. So the ties with Kona Blue and the Skinwalker Ranch is that one of the properties, a part of Kona Blue, that was going to be acquired for research purposes was Skinwalker Ranch. This is basically confirmed at this fucking point. I don't know if it's official, but I mean, like, what possible ranch in Utah that is tied to extraterrestrials other than Skinwalker Ranch? So they're talking about Skinwalker Ranch. And Skinwalker Ranch does have a lot of anomalous properties and a lot of anomalous shit that has been going down on there. So yeah, Skinwalker Ranch is one of those properties. I've heard the initial allegations of what happened at Skinwalker Ranch. I don't know if I fully believe them, but point being, unbiased scientists have went to Skinwalker Ranch and they've looked into it and is definitely very, very fucking weird. There's very, very weird, bizarre shit happening there, and it deserves some amount of probing and investigation. Both alien and ghost shit. I think it's just alien. I think those, because the ghost stuff is coming from the fucking the werewolf. Okay, it's not literally a werewolf, but it's like this sort of like beast that roams around Skinwalker Ranch that looks like a beast or some shit that comes out of a portal or some shit. It's like very crazy shit. A lot of the stuff with Skinwalker Ranch, it sounds so fucking unbelievable, but the fact that we're looking at it from a scientific lens is pretty fucking crazy. So I want to know more. I don't know exactly what to think about Skinwalker Ranch, but I think it deserves some amount of official investigation as to what the fuck is actually happening there. Is it really anomalous or is it not? Some people are going there saying no, the crazy part is that the mass majority of people that went to Skinwalker Ranch have experienced some paranormal fucking weird shit. Even completely scientific, autistically scientific people, they've experienced anomalous shit happening there. So there's something weird about Skinwalker Ranch. And it deserves some amount of investigation. And I think, if I recall correctly, Louis Elizondo, the guy who ran ATIP, Anomalous Threat Identification Program, out of the DoD, who were one of the first programs, the first UFO-related investigation programs, ran out of the DoD in the early 2000s investigated Skinwalker Ranch, and he said he experienced some anomalous shit there. A lot of people that go to and live and exist on Skinwalker Ranch and research on Skinwalker Ranch experience a lot of fucking weird shit. So that's kind of crazy. It could all be faked, could all be exaggerated. I think it's worth investigating. So that's basically it. Femi can only carry werewolf. I don't know if it literally is a werewolf. If it literally is a werewolf, keep me away from Skinwalker Ranch. I might try to like get the werewolf to fuck me or something. What do you think about ED and Lorraine Warren, the demon stuff? I don't really believe it. Honestly, ghost stuff is like the ghost shit is so hard for me to like. The ghost pill is so hard for me to swallow because like for me it's just like 99% of ghost sightings are completely natural phenomenon. But at the same time, what if it's not ghosts, right? What if it's not your traditional idea of ghosts? What if it isn't beings like past dead beings like already dead people coming back in spiritual form? What if it's not that? What if it's people? What if instead, if it's ghosts, it's people from another dimension? It's simply beings from another dimension kind of bleeding into our own reality. That could be it too. And that's what Louis Elizondo said that it was. Okay. I don't know if it is, but I think it deserves investigation. Sherman's Bigelow team, whatever that new show is regarding. Oh yeah, the new with the Skinwalker Ranch shit. Yeah, it's fucking crazy. It's crazy that we're actually taking this shit seriously. But the mere fact that we're putting so much money and so much effort and so much manpower behind this shit, and that the mass majority of people that are being allowed to see information and videos and data that we're not allowed to see, and they're being convinced, seems to suggest there's something weird happening. At the very least. Have you watched the show? I've seen some of the show, yeah. Dude, honestly, this VR headset is fucking killing me right now. I want to switch to PC. Holy shit. Oh my god, it is fucking killing me. Wearing this headset for a long period of time is agony.
Of literally anything, duh. But in regards to the pixelated footage, I'm not going to let him distract me.
Farts are not as funny as people think. They are as funny.
You know that.
Hold on, there's an easy way I could prove it. There's the easy way that I could prove it. You know how I could prove it?
The rabbit